dog. Oh, there he is. Okay. My dog was crying about something, but he's okay. You can downvote a tweet. What? Now you can downvote tweets? Huh. I don't know about that. I love that Ron Placone gets high and watches movies. It's great. What do you think? Doctrinate. War supporting indoctrinate. We're live and nobody's saying anything to me, huh? We're on how many channels? 14 out of 14? 3 viewers? And no chat coming through, huh? Alright. It says I've got 3 viewers, it's just not showing any chat. Have any of you guys said hello to me yet? Or are you all being timid and quiet? Let me know. Kamala Harris's approval rating falls to 28%, a historic low for any modern vice president. But we've got the greatest sanctions. Oh, aren't you loving the gas prices? They're so great. Yeah, people hate you now for it. You're an idiot. And you're a dumb cunt. Yeah, fuck off. Hippie chick Crystal, hello. How are you doing today? I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you? Listening while you work? Okay, cool. Right on. Wow, 28%. 28%. Turn the audio on here.
Class, and I knocked on the door, and I remember the teacher saying, I'm like, hey, they're already bolt cutting the fence to get me. She's like, you think we have time to get out? If I don't have time, I'm gonna run for my other son.
Once she was assured her son was okay, Gomez ran to get her other child, encountering more officers who tried to stop her.
So I start yelling, and I'm being a cooperative, and I'm like, well, y'all aren't doing what are y'all doing? Y'all ain't doing y'all need to be in here. Give me your badge. Somebody give me a badge. Something. I started paying attention to how far the shots were being, so that I knew the shooter was all the way still by my first son's class. So when I went to my second son's door.
So the shots were being fired. While the police were there. So there you go, man. They were literally standing around listening to those children being killed one at a time, doing nothing. Wow, that changes everything, doesn't it? When you get the whole story, they were listening to the gunshots. You know, they had said that all those kids were killed in the first 5 minutes, basically before most of the police officers even got there, and that's a lie. That guy was killing kids the whole time, the whole hour he was sitting there killing kids. Wow.
So that's when they started escorting me out. And as I see that they're opening my son's door, I go run for my son and I get him.
With both of her kids out safe, Gomez still can't shake the thought of those who didn't make it.
While you were inside the school, did you see officers
There was
inside
not
the
one
school?
officer inside the school when I
In
ran
the
to my
areas?
second son's class. There was not one officer.
And you were hearing gunshots, so you knew
You
that
could hear the
it was an
gunshots.
active
It was
shooter.
still active. The gunshots were still active. They were not in there. There was no one in there. If anything, when I pulled up, my car was closer to the school than where the
Police.
snipers and everybody that was laying on the ground were.
Wow.
When you heard that it took law enforcement 75 minutes before they went in and stopped the shooter, what was your thinking?
Now it's
How did you
75
get
minutes?
Inside the school yourself.
75 minutes?
They could have saved many more lives. They could have gone into that classroom and maybe 2 or 3 would have been gone, but they could have saved a whole homework, the whole class. They could have done something. Gone through the window, sniped them through the window. I mean, something, but nothing was being done. If anything, they were being more aggressive on us parents that were willing to go in there. And like I told one of the officers, I don't need you to protect me. Get away from me. I don't need your protection. If anything, I need you to go in there with me to go protect my kids.
Hippie chick, I am so sick of you not paying attention to the news and coming in here and asking me to tell you what the fuck is going on. Really, I hate the fact that you come in here and don't know what the fuck is going on. I hate that. It drives me fucking crazy. I mean, this has been going on for days and you still haven't heard from any of these parents yet? Really? You just totally have your head up your ass, don't you? You're on your own little bubble. That's the problem with this whole fucking country. Everyone's got their heads so far up their asses. Nobody knows, no one notices that the government is not defending your children, telling you, you can't post anything on social media anymore. You can't have an opinion about Vladimir Putin or Russia. You can't say that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are fucking cunts that couldn't give a fuck about you. God forbid you say something like that. Maddie Dobbs, what's up? This is why, hippie chick, because people like you sit around with your heads up your asses and you don't even read the news or try to find out what's going on in the world. It's psychotic how out of the fucking touch you are with everything that's going on. Crazy. God, people say there's no such thing as a dumb question. Yeah, there's a lot of dumb questions out there. A lot of dumb questions. Educate yourself. Enlighten yourself. Expose yourself to some frickin' news for a change. The fact that you thought it was a story that the police were holding these parents back. We covered this when it happened. You weren't watching that show, obviously, but you could have turned the news on or checked out a news article or found a podcast that was covering it. Educate yourselves, man. Keep yourselves informed. It is the most vulgar thing when people come in here and ask the dumbest questions like this, especially when it's shit that I've been talking about for almost a week now. Psychotic. I lost my fucking poker, and that's really got me pissed off. Where is that thing, man? I'm gonna use my fucking knife. I'm not gonna use this knife. Fuck that shit. I need a poker, man. Come on now. I'm serious. Why did that thing fucking disappear on me? Hey, Mom. Maddie Dobbs says, not true. The cops were scared. Sup, gang, in paint store. What's up, Merc? Maddie Dobbs says, not true. I don't know what you're saying is not true. You're going to have to tell me what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I think about all the different news sources that I watch, and I think about people that just refuse to get their news from various sources like I do, or they don't get their news at all, and they just wander around, bumbling around, or they have this narrative, and they've been lied to, and they're so high and mighty because they think they know what's going on. You don't know dick. Go fucking enlighten yourselves. Please. If you're not getting it from me, get it from somebody else. I don't care if you're getting it from fucking Fox News, but get it from somewhere. Be informed so at least you know what's going on. It's so vulgar that you thought that this was a story or a narrative or some bullshit. Oh, so it's true? Yeah, it's true. Why haven't you been watching the news? It's on every single fucking news station. It's on every fucking podcaster's agenda. Everybody's been talking about it. How do you not fucking know what's going on? Drives me fucking crazy. You know, maybe log into Twitter every once in a while and quit following a bunch of douchebags and follow some people that are going to give you some good news, some information. You know? Who is Steven Bandera? I don't know who Steven Bandera is. Okay, who the fuck is Steven Bandera? Steven Bandera.
According to Wikipedia, early life. Bandera was born in Stariai Uranev, Galicia, Austria-Hungary. He attended the fourth form grammar school in Strai.
Some kind of a hero. Responsible for the killing of Jews. Bandera was a Nazi supporter and is also considered responsible for the killing of Jews. People came out with torch for Steven Bandera march in honor of Nazi collaborator. Oh, he's a Nazi collaborator. Okay. Okay. Now I know who Steven Bandera was. He was a Nazi collaborator. Okay, so Maddie Dobbs said not true. I asked Maddie Dobbs what wasn't true. They didn't respond. And nobody else has said anything in my chat since 10:09, really? And it's 10:15. It's been 6 minutes since anybody has even said hello or anything. Why are you guys not talking in my chat? What's going on? Nice fish, Woodchuck Montrose. That's a big one. What is that? A carp? What the fuck is that, dude? That thing is huge. It's like I want to say a salmon or something, but... Dude, that thing is gigantic. It looks like you're in freshwater, too. Tell me what that bitch is. Freshwater carp is what I'm thinking. Or maybe you're in brackish water. Is it brackish? It's a striped bass? Are you kidding me? Dude, what is that, like a 15-pound fish? What? Are you just holding it really close to the camera, bro? Are you holding it like this? Are you holding it like right in front of the camera? Dude, that's gigantic. How much did that thing weigh? I swear it looks like it's 15 pounds in the picture. It's so much bigger than your head. Doing headlights, Brap says. Okay, right on. Good morning, mic check. Good morning, mic check. Be the water. I am the real deal when it comes to fishing, says Woodchuck Montrose. How much did that striped bass weigh, bro? That thing is huge. Dude, that is a giant fish. That thing's got to be over 10 pounds. To 5 feet long and records of 77 pounds. Oh, I didn't know they got... Wait, is that a sea... Is that from the ocean? The striped bass, does that come out of the ocean? My bad. I was thinking it was freshwater. It's a saltwater fish? Or a brackish fish? Brackish. 13 pounds? I was close, dude. I was 2 pounds off of my guesstimation. I was 2 pounds off. Not bad, huh? And I am not familiar with striped bass. Hey everybody, love me so much, emo. I'm on the floor. Says buy followers, primes, and viewers on star.store. So everybody run on over to star.store right now and so you can buy followers, primes, and viewers. Yeah, get on over there for that. Remember that address. It's star.store. Very important that you remember that. Okay, so let's move on to the blueberry. It's very, very blueberry. Yes, indeed. We've got some buds in need of some smoking. And I will do that today. Mom? Dad had a seizure while you were gone. Yeah, but he's okay. We sat with him. It lasted for about 15 minutes. Yeah. It is scary. Comes from the ocean. Okay, comes from the ocean up into the freshwater where I'm waiting. They're from the ocean, but they run up the Hudson River the same time every year. Seizures are so scary. Pops, is he okay? Yeah, my mom's with him right now. He's been sleeping since I started the show. That's why I'm so late, guys. I would have gone earlier, but my father was having a seizure, so I sat with him with Lusta, the girl that helps us during the day, and yeah, he's okay now. He snapped out. He just opened his eyes, and he was fine. It is scary. The body is just like, I'm taking a vacation. We'll be back in a few minutes, you know. Gotta go into shutdown mode, cool down mode. Okay, so we've got some blueberry on deck. I caught a striped bass, long as my truck tailgate, 49 pounds. Used a whole peeler crab for bait. Caught it in the Susquehanna River top of the Chesapeake. Crispy Chris, thanks for sharing the fishing story. That's awesome. All right, well, let's smoky time. Smoky time. Okay, cheers. Grandfather went through what your father's doing. It was terrible. Much sympathy. Thanks, Woodchuck. That's awesome. I hear the first Susquehanna River here in Pennsylvania. I hear. Oh, that's awesome to hear. I fished. Aaron Ide. Medicating. I'm sorry to hear about your dad. Oh, thanks, hippie chick. Medicating with some magic melon today. Magic melon. Sounds kind of sativa-y. Sounds like haze-ish. Is it a haze cross? ExxonMobil last month announced first quarter profits of $8.8 billion. That's more than triple the level of a year ago, when excluding special items. So while we're paying double for gas, Exxon is making triple profits. And we wonder why gas is so expensive. It's not because of Vladimir Putin. It's because of ExxonMobil. It's because these gas companies are charging more because they figured you'd all expect gas prices to go up because we're supporting a war right now. So it's just, oh, do your, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are up there doing their cheerleading. Oh, take it on the chin, America. Yeah, pay a little bit more for gas so we can do this war thing. And there's America just like, okay. Yeah, they're lying to you. I wonder how much ExxonMobil donated to the Biden and Harris campaigns. Huh. I just wonder how it all, what greases the wheels of politics. Why diesel is so high right now? It's the elite. Yeah, it's the elite. No, I watched something yesterday on it, buddy. I watched something yesterday on why gas. We watched it on the show. Why gas prices are so high. We watched it. We read the. In fact, it was funny. The video had nothing to do with the article. Did you guys catch that? And most people would just click on the video to get it, concise, quick, so they don't have to read through it. And then they don't get told what the cause is. But if you're smart like us and you ignore that stupid video, which is just pain at the pump, that's all that was. You ignore the video and you go to the article and it actually tells you what the reason is. You know what they said a lot of? They kept saying, Putin is adding to our misery. The war is adding to our misery. But you know what the cause of it really is? It's ExxonMobil is jacking up the price of oil. Because they can. Because people like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are profiting off it, so they allow it to happen. They don't give a fuck about us. This is a joke. They don't care about women's rights. They don't care about your children getting slaughtered in schools. They don't care. If Joe Biden cared, he would have done something on day one of his presidency. They don't care. How many school shootings have happened since Joe Biden became president of the United States and Kamala Harris became the vice president? How long? Has it been a year? Has it been 2 years? I don't even know. I don't even know what year it is, 2022? So it's been over a year, right? Am I right? January 2020, right? So it's been over 2 years? No, that doesn't seem right. How long is... Okay, Google. How long has Joe Biden been president of the United States?
Information from Wikipedia.
It just says 2021 till present. So, January 2021. So it's been over a year. Okay, great. It's been over a year. How many school shootings have happened? And what did they do? What have they accomplished? What have they pushed for? Did they fly out to every time there was a school shooting? Did they fly out there and speak about it and talk about how important it was that we change things? Whatever their solutions are. I want some. I do. I do. I want the kids to stop getting murdered in the schools. Okay? You guys won me over. I'm with you. Cool. I'm with you. Let's do it. What are we going to do? You're not going to come knocking on my door to take my gun. I'm not the one killing your kids. Right? What are we going to do about it? We better do something. Oh, that's right. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris haven't done anything. Not a thing. Nothing. And it's been going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. It hasn't stopped. Okay, Google. How many mass shootings have occurred in the United States in 2021?
Here is information from Wikipedia.
Dude, why won't my phone work? Open up the fucking link, you weird ass phone. Huh. Oh, there it goes. Now it's 4 people as a mass shooting, not 3. It's 4 people to make it a mass shooting. They increased the number of people, I believe. And there's still so many of them. They're trying to cut back on the number of mass shootings, Coast Chillin says high-powered rifles should only be for military use. What? What are you talking about? What if I need to take out a person who's in the military? Coast Chillin. What if I have to take out someone from China or Russia that's banging on my door to take over my homeland? Little bit of Nazi jargon there for y'all. For all you Republicans out there, I bet your dicks got hard when I said that. So, Coast Chillin'. What about when the military comes to your house to rip you out of your house illegally? You still want only the military to have access to high-powered rifles? You know, my mom and I had an interesting conversation this morning. We were talking about the Second Amendment. And I said, you know what, Mom? I don't care what the Second Amendment stood for, what it means, what the authors meant when they wrote it. I don't give a fuck. We have a corrupt government. Fuck them. That's it. I don't trust the government. I don't care what the Second Amendment says. That's it. That's it. Period. End of story. That's the tweet. Whatever the fuck you want to say. Period. You know, exclamation point. Yeah, I don't care what the Second Amendment is. Fuck your Second Amendment. I don't trust the fucking government. That's all you need to know. You know, this isn't an argument about the Second Amendment. It's not an argument about gun rights. It's not an argument about your children's safety. It's about the government taking you and locking you in prison or murdering you in your home. That's what it's about. And they've done it to other people.
Ben?
Yes. Yeah.
You know that thing? It's all the way back there. And I'm looking at it now.
Okay.
So what I have to do,
What do you want me to do?
I'm going to put it next to that and put feet all the way back to the big one after that. I'm going to put it in the thing.
What do you want me to do?
Can you focus on me?
Pull it?
Yes. This one, should be one over there and one over there. Put this one. No, just put this one.
This.
Yeah, this one.
This.
This one is too short. Yes. This is too long. Okay. Yes, yes, go, go.
Pull it?
Yeah, yes.
What's that?
One more below on the jacket.
There isn't a pillow.
Yes, this one.
This is a pillow right here.
Yeah.
you? There you go. Good boy. You're welcome. Want to put it in the...
Let me just stay on the side, just so that when I'm moving, you can put it up. This is- Okay. This one, I'm gonna go from the chest.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
What's that?
Does it feel right?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh boy. Talk about a job, buddy. You guys. Whoa, what's this? 100, 560, 400. What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about mass shootings? 142 mass shootings. Yeah, yeah, what has he done? He doesn't care. That's my point. Look how many people have died. He doesn't care. Kamala Harris doesn't care. They haven't done anything. You know, the only reason they're doing something now is because they know people aren't going to vote for them at this point if they don't do anything. And at this point, I don't care what they do. They need to do something. You know, at least the Republicans are offering legislation too. I will give them credit. I'll give the Republicans, because we watched that whole thing yesterday. And everything those Republicans were saying made pretty much sense. All the legislation they were trying to pass, it pretty much made sense. And the Democrats just weren't even reading the legislation. They were like, it's Republican. We're not interested. And we got about 3/4 of the way through it, and I finally caught on. I was like, oh, they're not going to pass anything. I was like, why are we even listening to this? This is a waste of fucking time. They're not working. They're not working together at all. You know, why don't they all get together? This is what they're not doing. Get together and write the legislation together. So they all agree on it, so they don't have to even have a debate or discussion. Let's just say, okay, we want this. Okay, we want that. Okay, this is how we're gonna do it, blah, blah, blah. I actually do that. You know, they used to call those smoke-filled rooms or whatever. You know, the back rooms, the meetings they would have. It doesn't even make sense. This doesn't even make sense. Now all they do is we come up with our ideas and you're going to refuse them. You're going to come up with your ideas and we're going to refuse them. And that's all they do now. They're not working together at all. You know, these people need to work together. So, you know, they need to stop threatening gun owners, and they need to start coming up with actual solutions, and they need to maybe try, you know, some of these recommendations. Why don't you do some test schools? You know, let's select some schools, you know, preferably nowhere where there's any Democratic leadership that have their children there to benefit from it. Okay? Right. They could keep their gun-free zones and whatnot. Okay? That's the way they want to try to protect it. Have a gun-free zone. Okay, great. Gun-free zone. That's going to work. Let's have a couple of test schools where, you know, the parents are more than happy to protect their children like they protect their money in a bank. Do that. Maybe select 100 schools to do it to. We get like four armed guards with AR-15s, helmets, riot gear, everything. They're just totally strapped and ready for war. Put 4 of them at 100 schools, and let's see if any of those 100 schools get a mass shooting. You know, and compare that to all the other schools that don't have that kind of protection. And then you tell me if you thought it was a good idea. You know, do some experimentation like that. Hey man, I'm not saying it didn't work. I'm not saying having 4 strapped security people with AR-15s and bulletproof vests and full riot gear on outside your children's school would stop somebody from coming in there and trying to take over the school and murder your children. I'm not saying it would work. I'm just saying at least give it a try. You fucking cunt, fucking Democrat motherfuckers. Just give it a try. You know? Instead of just shooting their legislation down, just see if it works. You don't have to do it to every school. Do a test. You know, like the Clintons, they want to do we're going to do a survey. We need $50 billion so we can do surveys and do testing. And yeah, remember that Agenda 21 bullshit? Yeah, whatever happened to that? We eviscerated that thing on this program. That was all bullshit. Why don't you do a real study for a change? Find out if armed guards prevent mass shootings. You know, find out if building a school like you build a bank with a single entranceway, fortified front, you know, you've put a little money into your children's education for a change instead of spending it on fucking war that we started. You know, by the way, we started that war in Donbass. We're the ones in 2014 that bombed the Donbass region. It was our munitions that we sold to the Ukrainians in 2014. It was Barack Obama. He's a fucking war criminal. Don't you forget it. I'm going to talk about it on every show. I should put a post-it note on my screen. Oh, yeah. So, everyone, Mike Check thinks he knows. Mike Check has gone back in time and been inside Abraham Lincoln's mind and knows what the man was thinking. Hey, Mike Check, do me a favor. You know what? Take your right-wing talking points and shove them up your ass. Number two, don't sit here and lie to me. Okay, don't fucking come into my chat and lie to me and act like you know what was going on inside Lincoln's brain. Because you don't. Okay, there's only one other person in the world who knew what Lincoln's brain was going on inside, and that's the dude that blew his brains all over the wall. You idiot. Stupid thing to fucking say. Oh, Lincoln did that because the South was winning the war. Yeah, that's why Lincoln freed the slaves, because the South was winning. That's why he did it. You're an idiot. In fact, you know what, dude? I think I'm just going to block you. Just because you're a racist cunt. And I don't even want to know what you have to fucking say after this point. People like you make me fucking sick. Fuck off. Anybody else? Anybody else want to tell me what Abraham Lincoln was thinking when he freed the slaves because you're a fucking right-wing nut job? Anybody? Oh, you thought I was a right-winger because I called the Democrats cunts? Oh, that was your mistake, you fucking Republic cunt. Guys having fun today? Having a little fun in the show? I mean, did motherfucker just come in here and really try to tell me that he knew what Abraham Lincoln was thinking in his brain and why he freed the slaves? Did somebody really just come in here and tell me that? He literally knew that I understand what Abraham Lincoln's motivation was to freeing the slaves. It was the South was winning the war that was started because Lincoln was going to free the slaves. That doesn't even make sense, you fucking dumb cunt. Get the fuck off my live stream. Don't fucking come back. God damn, these fucking idiots. I mean, just a little bit of this, man, you know? And next time you grab some right-wing nut job talking points, man, just do a little bit of this. Just 3 seconds of it, man. And if that's not enough, then take a minute. You know, whatever it takes to figure out that there's no way that anybody living today could possibly know what Abraham Lincoln's motivations were. You don't. You know, think about it. Are you Abraham Lincoln? I mean, you don't even know what Vladimir Putin's motivations are, you dumb cunt. But you would sit here and act like you did. You know? You don't know what I'm thinking. You don't know what anybody's thinking. So when you sit there and you try to state a fact, oh, they did this because of that. Well, you're a fucking liar. You're literally fucking lying to me. You don't know. So don't state shit like it's a fact. You know? Don't do that on my live stream. I fucking hate that shit. My son is over the computer department at a community college, and they're talking about arming some teachers. Yeah, you know, I'd rather them just get some armed guards. You know, they talk about, let's get some retired veterans in here, you know, to do the, you know, you guys are dumbasses. We've got the National Guard. We've got a situation on our hands locally that requires military grade assessment and answers, solutions. Bring in the National Guard. They're just sitting on their asses right now, man. Start assigning National Guard four-member teams to every school that you can, and start recruiting motherfuckers to add to the numbers of the National Guard. Pay them more money. Give them better equipment. You know, give them drones and shit, man. Connect all of them together. You know, your stupid fucking, your doorbells are all connected together. You know, God forbid the fucking governing agencies are connected together and understand what's going on. Do you remember the issues we had with 9/11? Remember that? Because the FBI wasn't talking to the CIA, and the CIA wasn't talking to the NSA, and the NSA wasn't talking to the fucking federal government. Nobody was talking to anybody. And so it was a big clusterfuck. We're still there. All this shit needs to be addressed. It all needs to be looked at. And best of luck to all of us. Because I don't see it happening. I wonder if you guys do. Is it getting better? Is anything getting better? Anything. It's what is improving. Tell me one thing that's getting better. Okay, I'll start. Infrastructure here in the state of Florida. It's phenomenal. That's gotten better. They spent some money on that here in the state of Florida. What about y'all's infrastructure where you guys live? California was a fucking nightmare. Potholes and no guardrails and fucking iced over roads and closed roads and roads that were in desperate need of repair. Horrible fucking highways and you name it, man. It's horrible over there. And no police. You know, no police for the rural areas at all. It's terrible. California's terrible. Florida? Dude, I'm in a gated community. We got fucking Seminole County deputy sheriffs driving through here all the time. Sometimes I see 2, 3 at a time. A fucking train of cops. I'm like, I wonder what the cops are doing back here. You know? Oh, that's right. Their jobs. They're doing their jobs. They're patrolling. They're out on the street waiting for a call. They're looking for shit. You know? And at any given moment, they're ready to give up their life to save another human being that they never even met before, or their children's lives. Hopefully. You know? Are you enjoying the show, people? I hope so, that you enjoy the show. I hope you do so enjoy the show. As it go. I had fun in my creek, made a dam yesterday, and now I have to scuttle it. Because we got to get ready for these fucking hurricanes, and I can't have dam stuff in that waterway getting washed around and shit. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go out there and clear the whole fucking thing today. Probably right after this show. Then maybe I'll have time to go play with my camera down at the Springs. With the HD footage. What? 4K. What? IndependentLeft.news and Leftists.today tweeted the show. I found more buds, folks. Mad? Okay, nothing going on there. Check the news, see if there's another mass shooting going on somewhere. Iowa, 2 dead plus suspected shooter outside Iowa church. It's every day, man. They're just one short of a mass shooting here. 2 people were found fatally shot Thursday evening in a church parking lot in Ames, Iowa. The suspected shooter was also dead in the lot at the Cornerstone Church, they said. The shooting came the same night President Joe Biden addressed the nation on the need for stricter gun laws. Would stricter gun laws have stopped that shooting from happening? That one? The one at the church yesterday? Oh, that's right, it wouldn't have. Because that person already owned that gun. Interesting, huh? Think about that. And I wonder how many shootings we've had, mass shootings we've had, where any legislation that's out right now, currently, wouldn't have done anything to stop the mass shooting. I wonder. It's like it's like they're playing paddleball. You know, with one of those little things on a string. Bop, 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 bop. But every time they swing, the ball goes like this, and they miss every time. The Democrats, they miss every piece of legislation they make misses the mark. The ball is not being affected at all. There's still mass shootings, and all of your stupid laws haven't done anything to stop it, and all of the things that you're proposing aren't going to stop it either. It's all you're going to do is take people's rights away. And you're not going to slow down the amount of mass murders going on in this country. There's a Republican who was like, dude, nobody ever wants to talk about the mass killing where that guy killed, 7 people with a van or 6 people with a van or whatever it was, 9 people, ran him over, went to a parade. And I said, just wait. I said, you take people's guns away and that's all they're going to do. There's still going to be mass murders. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be children in a school. You know, it could be people marching in a parade. It could be a school march. You know, it could be run. You know, they're doing some kind of an event. It could be a fireworks display. You know, how far is the parking lot from where the masses are standing watching the fireworks? And what's in between the parking lot and where all those people are? You got barricades that are going to stop a fucking truck from bashing through it? Imagine that. Imagine a giant truck bashes through a fucking fence around a whole bunch of people, drags the fence, and just starts running people over. Catches them all up in the fence and just runs over as many people as they can. How many people could you kill doing that? And how would they stop you? How are they going to stop you? That's all that's going to happen. You know, and I think it's going to be easier for people to commit mass murders from inside a vehicle. It's not as personal. It's more like a video game. You know, yeah, I could see, you know, nobody wants to go up and stab people to death. But, you know, even the gun is kind of close. But in a car, I mean, you don't even have to really see their faces, man. They're just bodies and you're just plowing it over. You know, you could turn your stereo on and you can even put your fucking, your sun shield in the front windshield, so you don't have to look at the people that you're plowing over. How long before they catch on to that method? Spell check meant to say COVID. I need to get back. So I'll be looking at my gear. Cannabis heals. Hey, Lest Bones, what's up? Spell check. Crispy Chris. People think because they drove a lot of people crazy. Think COVID. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Computer department at a community college, and they're talking about arming some teachers, right? So that was a good statement that they're talking about arming teachers. And I'm like, why are you going to arm teachers? Get the fucking National Guard in there. It's a great that was a great comment. Thank you for that. You know, arming teachers is stupid, because the first thing a gunman's going to do when they walk into a classroom is they're going to kill the teacher. The teacher's not going to be ready. Right? That's stupid. You need people standing ready with weapons in their hands. That's how you defend a place. You know, he's got something strapped on his back. He's got something in the holster. And he's protected so he can take a shot and kill the motherfucker that just shot him. These are just simple, old man, non-expert, armchair quarterback and non-professional ideas. And my ideas seem to be better than anything that any of the Republicans or the Democrats are offering. They weren't getting into these little loopholes and eddies of confusion. yesterday. I was watching it. It didn't. The points they were arguing were stupid. It was like children in a sandbox just throwing mud on each other. And it didn't make sense to me. And we watched that for 4 hours, and it was 4 hours of my life that I will never get back. And I'm like, wow, they're just wasting time. And I just wonder, I can't wait to see what the first actual piece of legislation that could pass is going to be that they offer. Because I guarantee you, it isn't going to do anything to stop the mass shootings. And the first thing I'm going to do is when they offer that piece of legislation is I'm going to come right on this show and I'm going to rip it apart. And I'm going to tell you why it's most likely a violation of my rights. It's not going to address the issue. And we'll go through and we'll find how many mass shootings have already taken place that this stupid legislation that they're offering isn't going to have any effect on at all. And all someone has to do is look at mass shootings and go, oh, okay, so that's all I got to do. Okay, cool. Great. You know, and eventually it'll just be, okay, so I just got to rent a U-Haul? Okay, great, I'll just rent a U-Haul. How many people are going to do that? You know, why spend $2,000, $4,000 on AR-15s and ammunition and make yourself obvious when, oh, I'm just moving some stuff. Oh, okay, sir, just sign right here. Yeah, I want the big one. I want the biggest U-Haul you've got. And who knows what the hell you're going to load in the back of that thing, you know, when you go on your little rampage. If one thing mass murderers have proven over the years, it's they're resourceful. You know, they always are. The reason they're using the AR-15 is because as far as resources go, that's one of the quickest, you know, tools out there for you know, the most efficient, accurate, and it's fairly reliable methods to do what they want to do. You take that away from them, and they're going to get the very next resource that is just as deadly and just as potent. I promise you. All you're going to end up doing is taking rights away from people like me. And there's a lot of, I'm not saying I am, but there's a lot of sane people out there that have firearms too. You know what I mean? So they're making a huge mistake. The Democrats, and this is my favorite saying of the day. The Democrats are shooting themselves in the foot. Pun intended. Cheers, guys. You know, like I said, I agree that something needs to be done. I support legislation, sensible legislation that addresses the issue and doesn't not address the issue. I know that's a double negative, or that would rather ignore the issue. That's what I should have said. I support it, man. I do. I just can't understand why these politicians just don't have a meeting. Stop these proceedings, this procedural bullshit. All of you, get on a Zoom chat and start talking about it. Have someone like me on there, someone who's got some really good ideas. Let me throw them at you, and then you can debate me on why it's such a bad idea to put 4 armed guards outside your children's school. You could tell me why it's such a bad idea. You know, to have one entrance into a school, or to, you know, like they said, have some legislation so you can't prop fucking doors open. You know? If you're propping a door open, you need to go to fucking jail. You know? There's all kinds of things that could be addressed. But, you know, and you put a little Band-Aid here and a little Band-Aid there and a little Band-Aid here and a little Band-Aid there, eventually what you're going to have is you're going to have a mummy that has no say in anything. And you can't do it like that. You have to be surgical. You have to be smart if you're going to write this legislation. And I guarantee you there's a way to do it. You know? Yeah, people are just going to do that, right, Brap? I can't say that word out loud, but yes, they're just going to do that. In fact, I probably shouldn't have said some of the things I've already said on here. All right. Cheers, guys. Thank you all for being here right now, man. Let's do a bong rip, and we'll keep talking, okay? You guys keep up in the chat, man. You know, if you have another great statement to make, go ahead and make it, and I'll see if I can respond to it. Gun massacres have left the country shaken and prompted new discussions about how to prevent them. Not really, but okay. The most recent incident was just a day earlier when a man bought an AR-15 style rifle and attacked an Oklahoma hospital, killing 4 people and then himself. In Iowa, authorities got a call of shots fired in the parking lot at 6:51. The shooting happened during the first summer of a college ministry program. They're going to pray for those people because it was at the church. So the church plans to have a prayer service for them. The church planned a prayer service Friday morning at 10. Thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. That's what you need. You need thoughts and prayers. It's going to help a lot. Thoughts and prayers. You better think about it and pray about it. And that'll make the problem go away. Just think about it and pray about it. And that'll make the problem go away. Slow jamming the news with Nay. Paid content. Does that say adventhealth.com? Yep, it does. They're on that shit. They're trying to hide their name Advent instead of Adventist. It's funny. They're embarrassed of who they are. They're embarrassed of their own frickin' name, Advent. We need to rebrand. People are catching on to us. Let's call ourselves Advent. That way we can still claim that we call ourselves Adventists. But still, we'll fool some of the weaker-minded souls out there. Advent. Okay, so that's what happened in Iowa. There's another, almost a mass shooting. Lawmaker pulls out weapons on webcam. I can do whatever I want with my guns. I do what I want. He should have said that. He should have looked right at that dude and said, I do what I want. And he threw the gun on the table. Bro, I've never thrown a gun before. He said, it's my house. I'll do what I want with my guns. Boom. I'm just like, God, you're an idiot. Why would you do that? Why would you throw a gun down, you know? He's just trying to show how tough he was, you know. I'm such a badass. Look, I'm going to throw my gun down on the table. Don't you tell me to worry whether there's a bullet in there or not. I'm going to throw my... You know, it'd be interesting to see when he was putting those magazines in if they had bullets in them. We could go back and see. I wasn't really checking, but I think there were bullets in those mags. Does anybody remember? You guys remember there were bullets in those magazines, weren't there? I mean, he wasn't cocking the gun, but he was definitely putting the clips in, right? And he was ejecting them. And I think those clips had bullets in them. Isn't that weird? None of us noticed that. You think you saw bullets? Cannabis Heals? Hey, let's watch it. We'll watch it. It's right here. We'll watch it and find out again. Well, it looks like there might be a bullet at the top of that mag in that screenshot. It looks like copper-colored bullet. I'm looking on the big screen.
So this gun would be banned.
I hope the gun is not loaded.
I'm at my house. I can do whatever I want with my guns.
I can do whatever I want with my guns. I'm at my house. I do whatever I want with my guns.
Right here in front of me, I have a Sig Sauer P226. Comes with a 20
Bullets.
round
Oh, those are loaded. Oh, yeah. And you know, he's the kind of dude that when he fucking puts those in, I guarantee you he cocks that gun. I bet you those guns are loaded, and I bet you they're cocked and locked and ready to go and ready to rock. Yeah, he's one of them psychos. He's one of them psychos. Dude, if I got time to pick a gun up, I got time to cock it. You know? These guys are psycho. They're psychotic. And you're going to pull, and look, I'm not saying that gun was cocked, but he is certainly exhibiting extreme trigger knowledge. Look at the way he's holding this gun. He's totally holding it like it's got a live bullet in the chamber, dude. Look. Dude, he's got that finger so far away from that trigger. I bet you those guns are loaded and ready to go. Because, you know, someone could have broken into his house while he's doing his little demonstration there. You have to be ready. Dude, and he threw that gun down on the table. Oh, my God, man. Oh. And he's probably one of them fucking little dick motherfuckers that goes in and says, yeah, give this one a really hair trigger. I want wind to blow on this motherfucker and fire it off. Yeah, he's probably one of them fucking psycho freaks. I want this gun to be able to fire if I think it should fire. That's how hair I want this trigger. His gun might not be, but he's half cocked, dude. Oh my God. Dude. The dude's got some serious firepower. Do you see what he's got, bro? Let's look at these guns this motherfucker's got. Holy shit. He's got some serious fucking firepower. Look at this guy, bro. He is fucking strapped. This guy is fucking strapped. And I love that he fucking tells you what each weapon is.
I hope the gun is not loaded.
So this gun would be banned.
I hope the gun is not loaded.
I'm at my house. I can do whatever I want with my guns.
He fucking pointed. I'm sure that gun is loaded. I'm sure it's loaded. He pointed it right at his head, man. He's such an idiot. Wow, man. Now, I am assuming the gun is loaded, but I'm always positive the gun is loaded. Just because the freak this guy is. What kind of guns are these, man? He's got a Sig Sauer, what? Is it a 45?
Right here in front of me, I have a Sig Sauer P226. Comes with a 21 round magazine. This gun would be banned.
Dude, is that a 45 auto? What round is that? You guys know the Sig Sauers? I don't know. He said a P226?
Comes with a 21 round magazine. This gun, right here in front of me, I have a Sig Sauer P226.
A P226? What round is that? 9mm? Sig Sauer. Because that would be a heavy ass gun with all of that 45 auto ammo in it. Holy shit, that'd be a heavy fucking gun. I mean, you wouldn't feel that fucker recoil at all, I bet. It's a 9mm, yeah, so it's lighter. Yeah.
With a 21 round magazine. This gun would be banned.
21 rounds, dude. He's got a 21 round mag for his 9mm. 21. That goes pretty quick. But he's got 21 rounds of that motherfucker. Holy shit. Dude, that's like as many rounds as a fucking as a gun from fucking Reservoir Dogs.
And don't let them fool you that they are not attempting to take away your ability to purchase handguns.
Are we gonna see any more of his gun collection? Show us your guns, bruh.
You're not here for the children. Why don't you go to the funeral of the killer? We're here to get things done and protect our kids. What's your job?
People on the other side of the aisle come in and accuse Republicans of being complicit in murder.
He's right.
And that we put our right to kill over others' right to live. You think we don't have hearts? Your ideas have been shown to get people killed.
And let me just say this. At this point in this conversation, this lunatic Republican is protecting my rights. I know that sounds fucking crazy. A lot of people might get turned off by that. But at this juncture, with the way our governments are acting and lying to us, I don't trust them at all. Not one bit. That man speaks for me right now. And that's creepy AF. But that's the way it's got to be right now, man. You know, you gotta see where you are on this. They're doing it wrong, man. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So this is the bill, if it becomes law, would raise the age for buying some semi-automatic centerfire rifles from 18 to 21. Do you see the word some right there? That's the key word. Okay, so I can't get some kinds of semi-automatic centerfire rifles, but I can get other kinds. That is a toothless bill right there. That was written so that Democrats that are like, you know, that support gun rights, like I support gun rights. I'm not a Democrat. I'm just saying. If they support gun rights, and when I was a Democrat, I supported gun rights too. And Democrats that support gun rights can be like, oh, okay, so, you know, it's not full regulation. I'm still able to purchase, you know, some of the weapons. That's not going to stop some psycho kid from getting one of the some of the semi-automatic centerfire rifles and going and doing the exact same thing. Right? What's going to stop him? So, you know, what if he has like one of those handguns with him that dude was just showing us? He's got one of those handguns. It's got 21 bullets in it. And it's, you know, he's got some other semi-automatic centerfire rifle. I like how they're not calling it an assault rifle anymore. I think they're finally learning that there's no such thing. from 18 to 21 and strengthen existing regulations on ghost guns, among other things. Well, I have a problem with other things because I don't know what other things are. So tell us what the other things are, right? Ghost guns, yeah, okay, I'm cool with that. You should register your firearms. I had to register mine. You should have to register yours. I'm okay with that. You know, I know plenty of people that don't register firearms and they own lots of them. You know, I'm not one of them. All mine are registered. In 2 different states, my guns are registered. I'm fine with that. But it doesn't stop people from not registering their firearms. There's lots of people with unregistered firearms. You have no idea. You guys, when they give you the numbers of people that own firearms, you're like, well, this is how many people own firearms. There's 300 million people in the United States, and there's 900 million firearms. There's enough firearms for every, bullshit. There's way more. There's way more that you don't know about. I knew a guy, and he ended up getting caught, and they ended up finding his stuff. But I knew a guy, and this guy had more guns than a sporting goods store. I'm telling you, he had a whole underground bunker, and it was all the walls were stacked with all kinds of high-powered rifles, all illegal shit, fully automatic shit, Uzis, 50 caliber sniper rifle, everything. He had everything. So, your law, it's, I agree with the ghost guns thing, that we could start with that. Out of all of this bullshit, I don't agree with the 18 to 21 thing. If you want to do it, if you're going to do it, let the 18, 19, and 20-year-olds get out in the street and protest. And the 17-year-olds too. Man, I was looking forward to buying a gun, man, and going out hunting with my father. I was going to buy my dad a gun for his birthday, blah, blah, whatever. Let the 17, the 18, the 19, and the 20-year-olds get on the street and protest that shit. Now, this is what I say about this. How many mass shooters are 18, 19, 20? And then, how many out of those that committed the mass shootings, right, were just able to go get their mom's AR-15 or their dad's AR-15 or ask their friend if they could borrow theirs? And how many mass shooters were 21 and over? That would be my next question. So that's the bill, and they don't even tell you the whole thing. It says among other things, and I just hate that. It's unfair to your viewing audience if you're not going to give them full disclosure on what it is we're discussing. It's just not right. They were ignoring Putin. Do you guys remember this when Barack Obama was president? Do you guys remember? He had a ignore Putin policy. That was his policy. Didn't want to talk to him. That was the whole. Remember that? He was rude, and when they were both at the same event, he wouldn't shake his hand, he wouldn't speak with him, and he wouldn't have any kind of talks with Russia at all. All right? Remember that? Look where it got us. Look where we are today. Now, I offer you this. There is an opinion piece on CNN right now. CNN, Obama's champions. And it says, after 22 years, I'm listening to Putin's every word. I thought we were ignoring him. I thought we didn't want to talk to him. Oh, now we're going to listen to his every word? Interesting. There's a video. There's a video. So, maybe we'll watch the video. Vladimir Putin thinks no one in the West listens to him. The Russian president has been saying it for years. In 2018, boasting of Russia's new and more fearsome nuclear weapons, which he claimed he had warned the United States he would have to develop to counter their anti-missile systems, he said, "No one listened to us then, so listen to us now." This January, as he inched closer to attacking Ukraine, Putin told French President Emmanuel Macron that the United States and NATO did not take into account Russia's fundamental concerns about NATO expansion. You know, that's a freaking tweet right there. This is unbelievable. CNN, one article at a time, and they'll put one sentence in each one of these articles, and they don't think we're paying attention. And I'm telling CNN, I'm paying attention. And I'm tweeting every single one of these. This is psychotic. They don't think we're paying attention. Quotation, paste, quotation, dot, 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 dash, CNN. Putin told French President Emmanuel Macron that the United States and NATO, quotation, did not take into account Russia's fundamental concerns about NATO expansion. You think? It's amazing how this is all just dripping out a little bit at a time from CNN. I mean, we all knew all this. Okay, everybody that watches Jackson Hinkle knew this. You know, if you watch Jimmy Dore, you knew this. If you listened to Aaron Mate, you know, and Max Blumenthal, I don't like him that much, but if you listen to him, then you knew this. You know, if you're paying attention to Graham Elwood, you knew this. If you're paying attention to Lee Camp, you knew this. So most of you that follow my lead in following those people that I beg you to go follow on YouTube and Twitter, you are Ron Placone, then you guys knew this. Right? This isn't a surprise to us. What's interesting is the way this is. It's June 3rd. And CNN is releasing this like it's news. Days later, he repeated that claim to Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, saying fundamental Russian concerns were ignored. Being ignored by the U.S. apparently gets under Putin's skin. On February 24th, the day he announced what he called his special military operation against Ukraine, he contemptuously challenged the U.S., saying, "They sought to destroy our traditional values and force on us their false values that would erode us, our people, from within. The attitudes they have been aggressively imposing on their countries, attitudes that are directly leading to degradation and degeneration because they are contrary to human nature. This is not going to happen. No one has ever succeeded in doing this, nor will they succeed now." Dude, that was this year, February 24th, he said that. That was the day that he announced they were going to be doing the Ukrainian border buildup. February 24th. I admit it, during the 22 years I reported on Putin, I didn't listen to him as closely as I should have. Or rather, I listened to the parts I wanted to hear, the parts that sounded good to the ear of a Westerner, like the first time I sat next to the Russian president in the Kremlin library. It was June 2000. I don't care about your fucking anecdotes, dude. I don't care about your anecdotes. I'm going through a whole bunch of this. You guys don't need to hear this bullshit. Somebody's bragging about, "Oh, I sat next to Vladimir Putin and he said this." Who cares? On February 24th in Moscow, watching Russian state television as Putin announced his special military operation against Ukraine, I was reminded of Putin's Jekyll and Hyde performance in the Kremlin library. In a snarling speech, he began not with Ukraine, but with his old obsession, Chechnya, accusing the U.S. of trying to destroy Russia in the early years of his rule. They immediately tried to put the final squeeze on us, finish us off, and utterly destroy us. This is how it was in the 1990s and the early 2000s when the so-called collective West was actively supporting separatism and gangs of mercenaries in southern Russia. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. He's attributing that violence to the United States. What victims, what losses we had to sustain, and what trials we had to go through at that time before we broke the back of international terrorism is in the Caucasus. We remember this and we will never forget. Once again, there was that crude Putin speak. They said one thing, we did another. Putin had said weeks earlier, as people say, they screwed us over. Well, they simply deceived us. Okay, this person's just getting anecdotal as hell, and I don't want to read any of this shit. I remember a conversation I had. Yeah, I don't care. Okay, as I look back at Putin's speech now, more than 3 months into the grinding obliteration of cities and human beings unleashed by Putin's army in Ukraine, I realize I should have listened. Really listened to Putin. Listen to his obsession with Chechnya, yes, and to his obsession with Ukraine, but really paid attention to his deep and abiding resentment of the United States. Understood it the day he declared war on Ukraine, but spent most of his speech calling the United States an empire of lies and accusing it of con artist behavior. Do you guys see this? He literally went into Ukraine saying, I'm attacking the United States. He said it in his speech, and we didn't pay attention. That's what he was saying. He's like, I'm going into Ukraine to get the United States. It's almost like he's stepping into a boxing ring and at Ukraine and asking America to come in on the other corner. He threw down the gauntlet in response to what he feels was American attacks on his homeland soil. A Russian friend once told me that in Putin's worldview, he draws a line between an enemy and a traitor. An enemy he respects, a traitor he despises. For Putin, the U.S. is both enemy and traitor, a powerful nation that, on one level, he respects yet deeply resents, a county that must be confronted that, as he sees it, stabbed Russia in the back. I totally agree. I know the difference between a traitor and an enemy. Absolutely. You know? And I agree with that sentiment. Totally agree with it. It's the same Putin I saw in the Kremlin library nearly 22 years ago, man erupting in fury, bent on retribution. He had launched the second Chechen war that decimated the Republic and its people. Now he's unleashed a war that will have devastating consequences both for Ukraine and Russia. He reserves a boiling yet impotent fury for the United States. Where did this insolent manner of talking down from the height of their exceptionalism, infallibility, and all permissiveness come from? What is the explanation for this contemptuous and disdainful attitude to our interests and absolutely legitimate demands? He said, you can tell Putin's choice of words. It's crazy, right? Listen to Vladimir Putin speak. Listen to this. Where did this insolent manner of talking down from the height of their exceptionalism, infallibility, and all permissiveness come from? What is the explanation for this contemptuous and disdainful attitude to our interests and absolutely legitimate demands? He said in his February 24th address. That was the address that attacked Ukraine this year. This time, I'm paying attention to Putin's every word, and I fully understand. Yeah, a lot of us, this is an interesting opinion piece. And I'm going to go ahead and tweet it, and I'm just going to say this. Freaking Johnny come lately. Welcome to the, real world. Three months late, CNN, but welcome to the real world. You know? Three months late. And we've been talking about this. We knew why he was pissed off. Do you realize we went through that whole article and they didn't mention Donbass at all? Did you notice that? That guy, whoever wrote that article, let's see who wrote that. Jill Doherty. Oh man, I hate her, man. She's a anchor on CNN. It says Jill Doherty is an adjunct professor at Georgetown University and a former CNN Moscow bureau chief. The views expressed in this commentary are her own. View more opinion on CNN. She's an idiot. That's hilarious. I had no idea that was her that wrote that article. Even though her picture appears at the top of it, it didn't occur to me that was who wrote this. It's funny. Jill Doherty. Like I said, 3 months late, you idiot. You're 3 months late. You know, you're a news person and you didn't know that NATO and the bombing of Donbass region was pissing off Putin. You're an idiot. You know, you're a Barack Obama lackey, and you did what Barack Obama taught you to do, which was ignore Putin. That's what he taught you to do for 8 years. And you did it like a good servant. You did a good job. Jill Doherty. Serving the imperialistic war machine, you know? She's getting paid to ignore the facts. How am I doing? Joseph, yeah, look what I found, bro. Look what I found, bro. I'm all high and shit, bro. Smoking, bro. Found these, bro. Saltwater OG, bro. SoCali train wreck, bro. Blueberry, bro. Berry, blueberry, bruh. I'm really enjoying it, bruh. Oh, awesome. They all sound delicious. They're not delicious. They're 2 or 3 years old. Maybe more. I don't know how old these buds are. I don't know how old that saltwater OG is. I don't know how old the purple flat top is. I don't know how old the blueberry is. That was an old grow, man. It wasn't last year's grow. It wasn't the grow before last year's either. You know? It was a while back. So those buds have been around for a long time, sitting in this house in these little jars. And I just discovered them again. I totally forgot I had them. It's just a wonderful discovery. On GPS, how will Putin's war in Ukraine end? Ooh, this might be interesting. Hey, bro. Hey, good. Okay. Cool. All right. Bye-bye. How does it taste right now? It's actually, you know what, bro? I was going to do a dab, but because you're asking. Okay. I've already smoked the blueberry today. So let me go with the SoCali Trainwreck is the worst of all of them. I'm going to go with that one. Okay? It's, for some reason, the SoCali Trainwreck. It's a good strain, gets you nice and high, but it just never really tasted special. You know, it's my friend's strain, SoCali Hippie Hash Man. He's a good guy, but, you know, he knows that SoCali Trainwreck wasn't really, you know, all that. It was, you know, it was a big producer. It produced a lot of cannabis. I wouldn't say the buds were sticky, you know, but they're dense. And it smells good. It has a good smell to it. It smells like a head shop, you know? You know that smell? Like a potpourri? When you walk into a head shop and you smell all the incense and shit. I love that smell. I love the way a good head shop smells, or a dispensary when they have that shit going on in there too. Not all dispensaries are groovy like that, but you know, some of them try to be all, you know, adhere to the regulations, and you know, they try to look like, they try to pull themselves off like they're some sort of a pharmacy, you know. When I went to Dino's head shop, dude, it was a head shop. You could buy cannabis there. They had the little pharmacy in the back. But dude, it was out front. It was a head shop. It was cool, bro. They had groovy posters and black like shit, and glow in the dark shit, and fucking just cool shit, man. You know, they had cool shit. All right, so speaking of cool shit, man, let's smoke from the creek bong. Shower. I'm gonna move over. I see why I moved over, so you guys could see this. All right, cheers. That tasted really good, actually. Shouts out SoCal Hippie Ashman. That's not that bad. It's Friday. It's time to water the plants. It's Plant Watering Friday, folks. That was smooth and tasty, delicious. Very, very good. I've got to give him credit, because that stuff has got to be 3 years old. It's been sitting here for 3 years. How often do you water your plants? Well, my mother waters her plants every Friday. And she went, she just totally did that when I said that. She's like, why did you do that?
Why are you even talking about that?
Because it's part of the show, Mom. She doesn't like being part of the show. She has a regimen and she sticks to it. My mom started that shit. My mom created. You know, there's a comedian. His name is Ed Bassmaster. He's got this character that he plays called Chip Diamond.
Yeah.
And he walks around and he looks at everybody and he's like, I could have done that way better, pal. What are you even doing? Yeah, you know when I talk like that? And he walks around with his arms like this. And he goes, most guys, they walk like this. Not me, pal. I'm up here. This is where my arms are at. And he walks around. He swings his arms like they're cranes. And he's got these big sunglasses on, and it's hilarious. And there's this one bit. It's probably one of his most famous ones. He goes into a gymnasium, and there are these guys, and they're lifting these giant weights, these huge bodybuilders. And he goes, and he's a little guy. He's like 5'7". And he goes up to these guys with his costume, and he's like, he looks at him, he's got his arms up here, he's like, that ain't nothing, pal. I could have done that with one hand. Unreal. I could do that with one hand tied behind my back, as a matter of fact. You could only do that one time? I could do that 10 times, pal. And the guy's like, why don't you come over and try it? And he's like, I ain't got the time, pal. And he walks away. So funny. Just so much attitude. And then there's this one where he's got a little person with him, and they call him, he's Chip Diamond, and the little guy's name is Microchip, and he's dressed exactly the same, and he walks around with his arms right behind him like this too, and he does everything that Chip Diamond does. It's great. It's one of the funniest things that I've ever seen on the internet. Actually, he is Ed Bassmaster. Love him. He's great. And so I'm just saying, you were doing before he was. You created that. You started it. She's like, I'm sure.
How am I supposed to get over?
How am I supposed to get back here? Nobody's even trying to get back to this plant like that anymore, pal. We'll bring the plant to you.
Yeah, but the plant needs the light.
And then we'll bring the plant back when you're done. Okay. Now it's back in the light.
Can I ask you why you did this? Why did you?
Yeah, that's a baffle.
It doesn't baffle anything. Trust me.
It just baffles you why I did it. It is a baffle. You'd be surprised. When we were listening to that 4-hour droning gun debate yesterday, I thought it would be polite to kind of deaden the sound a little bit. So what I did was I took all the chairs here and I lined them up and I put blankets over them to kind of absorb some, because I'm right under this reflective ceiling. So it amplifies. It's like I'm in the middle of a speaker. So it just amplifies what I'm saying, and it goes up in the skylight and bounces down. And all this. It's great for music. Don't get me wrong. This is fantastic for singing and playing guitar. Right here especially. It's very bright and beautiful. But it could use a little bit of shag, baby. It needs a little bit of shag to deaden the sound, baby. Number 2. $1 million. 1 million. No, not 1 million. That's $1 billion. $1 billion. Billion. He is not an attractive looking man.
Let me ask you, Radek, what should we do?
Vladimir
with Ukraine?
Putin.
What should the West
Not
do
easy to
with
look
Ukraine?
at.
I think there's general agreement that the 2008 Bucharest Declaration was badly done because it vaguely promised NATO and Ukraine and Georgia membership in NATO, but provided no pathway, no timetable. So it was sort of enough to anger Putin without doing enough to protect Ukraine. But how do you resolve that? Should, going forward, Ukraine be given security guarantees by the West?
Be given what by the West?
Actually, you're talking about...
Given security guarantees by the West?
Security guarantees by the West. Huh.
Actually, you're talking about the 2008 NATO summit, which I attended.
NATO?
The Budapest Declaration was earlier in 1994.
Bucharest.
And under
I said
that
Bucharest,
declaration...
Dude, I tell you what.
Bucharest was...
Fareed Zakaria is probably going to be one of the first people to talk about Donbass in mainstream media. They can't avoid it. They're getting closer and closer and closer. I said 2 months. And I mean it. It's going to be a
The
crawl.
Budapest Declaration was the
to get there.
agreement whereby Russia, primarily, the United States,
Drip,
Britain,
drip.
And then later France and China, gave Ukraine the guarantees of independence and security of borders in return for Ukraine giving up what was then the world's third largest nuclear stockpile. And Russia has clearly broken the security assurances that it has given. So it's very difficult to deal with a head of state like Mr. Putin, who customarily lies and breaks international agreements.
But what to do about Ukraine? Give it a security guarantee now, or?
Well, we are giving Ukraine something better than security guarantees, namely the means to do what they want to do anyway, which is to defend their land from purges, from war crimes, from deportations to gulags in Russia. You know, Charlie was in the Obama administration, which advised the Ukrainians not to fight in Crimea. That led to Donbass. They didn't then arm...
Let's go back. Whoa.
Which advised the Ukrainians not to fight in Crimea. That led to Donbass. They didn't then... to gulags in Russia. You know, Charlie was in the Obama administration, which advised the Ukrainians not to fight in Crimea. That...
You guys, did you catch that? He's mentioned Donbass. Did you hear that? He fucking mentioned it, dude.
to
Oh, it's the yeah, for the underwater camera. Thank you, Mom. Oh, I'm so glad.
Donbass. They didn't then arm Ukraine, so Putin thought that he could take all of Ukraine and extinct.
But listen to the way he glazed over Donbass. See, it led to Donbass. Okay, what? It led to what, bro? You said that in literally like 2 seconds. I'm so confused how these people are able to do this.
You know, Charlie was in the Obama administration, which advised the Ukrainians not to fight in Crimea.
Which you advised the Ukrainians not to fight. Did he say Ukrainia? What did he say? Can we slow this down? I'm slowing it down, seriously, because I'm totally lost here.
Want to do anyway, which is to defend their land from purges, from war crimes, from deportation.
Like Donbass wasn't a war crime.
To gulags in Russia. You know, Charlie was in the Obama administration, which advised the Ukrainians not to fight in Crimea. That led to Donbass. They didn't then arm Ukraine, so Putin thought that...
He says they didn't arm Ukraine. Dude, we've been arming Ukraine since 2014. So what I don't understand is, since we cooed their government in 2014, I don't understand why he's saying we didn't arm Ukraine. We armed Ukraine. They took those munitions and they bombed the Donbass. And he's acting like Donbass happened and it was just Donbass happened. Do you hear that?
That led to Donbass.
It led to Donbass, and we're not going to talk about it. I'm not going to tell you the 14,000 ethnic Russians were slaughtered by American munitions by Zelensky and the Ukrainians. And the Azovs burned alive, beaten to death. All kinds of horrible shit, man. 14,000 ethnic Russians. It's a thing. I'm going to talk about it on every single podcast. I'm always going to mention it till these people start mentioning it. And this guy just mentioned it. But he doesn't want to talk about it. Let's go back to normal speed. It's weird that I couldn't slow it down a little bit faster than that, you know, but...
They didn't then arm Ukraine, so Putin thought that he could take all of Ukraine and extinguish it as an independent nation without paying a price. Well, I'm very glad that the lesson has been learned and that he is now paying a price, and we need to expel him from Ukraine, because if we don't...
All of these people are angry and mad at Vladimir Putin. They're not... He doesn't want to take responsibility for what happened in Donbass. He doesn't want to say that it even happened. And it's crazy that he mentioned it. It's almost like I said, they're going to have to start mentioning it sooner or later. Then they're going to have to start explaining what it is. Donbass. Wait, you mentioned Donbass. Was that a result of a coup that CIA sponsored in Ukraine to overthrow the government that favored Russia because they were going to do a deal with Russia? And they didn't want that. The Americans didn't want that, so they put the CIA in there to go ahead and overthrow the government. They couped the government. They put in Zelensky. Right? That's an American straw man that they put in there that will do their bidding. And this is exactly where America wants to be. This is where Joe Biden, that is where this man wants to be. They want to be at war with Vladimir Putin. And I'm telling you, they might be making a huge mistake. It's like Doherty said in her article, I should have listened to Putin.
We'll find him on the border of NATO.
Charlie, you disagree because you've written a piece in The Atlantic saying the Ukrainians should essentially pocket what gains they have and stop at this point. Not
So this guy right here worked for the Obama administration when they were dealing with Ukraine. This should be interesting.
try to kind of regain all their territory, right? The problem with that, I just wonder, is the Russians don't seem ready to negotiate even on those terms. I mean, the Ukrainians do seem to want to recover more of their territory, but the Russians, as far as I can tell, are not seriously negotiating about anything at all to end this conflict.
Well, the first point I'd make is kudos to the Biden administration for putting together an amazing coalition and putting on the ground in Ukraine the arms that Ukraine needs to defend itself. I do think, Fareed, that we're getting to a phase of the conflict in which the war is going to be more difficult for the Ukrainians. They're now more on offense than on defense, trying to push back positions that Russia took in 2014. And as a consequence, I do think we're going to see more of a stalemate, and that will provide an opportunity for a conversation with the Ukrainians about their war aims. And yes, it is up to the...
Wow, this is one of the first people I've said, hey man, we need to stop and have some fucking talks. That's true. Charles Kupchan, former senior director for European Affairs, National Security Council under Barack Obama. Let's go back. I want to hear everything this guy says.
As far as I can tell, are not seriously negotiating about anything at all to end this conflict.
Well, the first point I'd make is kudos to the Biden administration for putting together an amazing coalition and putting on the ground in Ukraine the arms that Ukraine needs to defend itself. I do think...
Do you see what he just did there, guys? I'll tell you. What he just did was he ingratiated himself to the Biden administration because he feels like he has something to offer them. So he's going to give them a very nice compliment about the way they're doing things because he wants to work for them. He doesn't at all think that sending weapons to Ukraine was a good idea. Trust me, he doesn't. He wants them to stop, and he wants, instead of spending money on weapons, he wants them to rebuild Ukraine. He wants them to talk about peace. He knows what's up. He's a peaceful guy. Very interesting, isn't it? Let's keep listening.
That we're getting to a phase of the conflict in which the war is going to be more difficult for the Ukrainians. They're now more on offense than on defense, trying to push back positions that Russia took in 2014. And as a consequence, I do think we're going to see more of a stalemate, and that will provide an opportunity for a conversation with the Ukrainians about their war aims. And yes, it is up to the Ukrainians, but I think the United States, the Poles, other NATO allies should be discussing how to bring the war to an end sooner rather than later. I don't have in my mind some sense of exactly where to stop. Should we push the Russians out of Donbass, but not try to retake Crimea? This is the conversation that needs to take place. But do keep in mind, number one, the risks of escalation. Number two, the blowback effects. I'm very worried that as we head to the midterms, the America First wing of the Republican Party is going to get stronger and stronger. We've seen...
Dude, I have a feeling this is the last time we're going to see him on any television, MSM television show, ever. He is saying exactly what Big War does not want to hear. Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Blackwater, BlackRock, all of these huge corporations, even Google, none of them want this man to say what he is saying. He's offering half measures. Yeah, let's take back, Donbass, or, we'll discuss whether we should go back here or try to take back some land from Russia, blah, 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 because he knows that's what the Biden administration wants to hear, and that's what all the war people want to hear, right? But he's saying this needs to end now because it's only going to get worse. And he's trying to talk out of both sides of his mouth. I don't know if you guys are catching it, but to me, it's blatant. And I wonder what Fareed's going to say.
J.D. Vance in Ohio, he won that primary. What was his policy toward
they don't want
Ukraine?
peace.
I don't care what happens on the border between Ukraine and Russia. So it's for these reasons that I worry that the staying power, the bipartisan staying power of the United States is uncertain. The unity that we've seen across the Atlantic is uncertain. The Italians have just put forward a peace proposal. This is the time, in my mind, to begin having a conversation with Ukraine and ultimately with Russia about ending the war sooner rather than later.
Radek, I have 45 seconds left, but I want to ask you, fair to say your solution to resolving this conflict is defeat Russia, expel Russia?
Well, we've just had a meeting of the EU-US delegation here in Paris, and that was the bipartisan...
And we snorted a lot of lines of cocaine while we did it.
That Putin needs to be defeated. Only then will Russia reform itself. And if Russia reforms itself, perhaps under a different leadership, maybe she would join the West, which would be a good thing.
Radek Sikorski, Charles Kupchan, pleasure to have both of you on. This debate and discussion will...
If Russia reforms itself, perhaps under a different leadership, maybe she would join the West, which would be a good thing.
Dude, Russia's already joined the West, you fucking idiot. We've been doing business with Russia nonstop. You know, it was Barack Obama that cut off ties with Vladimir Putin. You know, Donald Trump started talking to him again. Look at that smug look on this motherfucker's face. Like he knows. Look at that smug look on his face. Do you guys see that? Look. Look at this. Look at that smug look on his face. Wow, man. I give Fareed Zakaria credit for having both of these people on. I can't believe that the only person that mentioned Donbass was this guy. The fucking war hawk. The only way to win this is to beat Vladimir Putin, he said, or get new leadership in Russia. A coup. And they want to coup everything, man. You see a warmonger there, right? I see a coup monger. He wants to overthrow the government of Russia. And he wants as much international help as he can get. I just came out of a meeting with the EU and America, and we have to beat Russia. That's it. We have to beat Russia. Meanwhile, the dude from the Obama administration that started all this shit is like, he's like, dude, this is our fault. And he knows. In 2 months, his administration is going to be called out for starting this entire fucking war. You'll see. You'll see. He mentioned Donbass, bro. It's just a matter of time before they have to start mentioning the fact that they murdered 14,000 people with American munitions. You'll see. It's going to come out. Oh boy, and when it does, man, there's going to be a lot of eyes opening up around the country. There's... My predictive texts went away and I don't know how to bring them back on. Okay, if you want to beat Russia, put boots on the ground and push into Russia. Right, Cannabis Heels? You're right, you're right. You know, or, pull one of those Desert Storms where you pull a bunch of, ships over there and you start firing missiles into their cities. Dude, if America did that, I think that Vladimir Putin would launch nukes on America. He'd be like, okay, fine. He's probably got like a little quick button too. It's Vladimir Putin. You know, he probably no codes or some dude carrying around the box or nothing like that. He's probably just pulls out his cell phone and goes, dude. It's probably right on the front screen too. It's just a red button and it says Kill America underneath it. That's the app. It's the Kill America app. And he just hits it. Boom. No, I always forget. So, what else is going on here? Huge problem. Ukraine's military is facing a huge problem. This guy says, let's see what he says. While we listen to this music in the background.
Where exactly are these lines of control, as they're called tonight, with Russia now holding, what, about a fifth of the country? Is that right?
That's right, Wolf. A fifth of the country. It's about...
I didn't know that. I didn't know that Russia is holding 1/5 of Ukraine. Did you guys know that? 20% of Ukraine is under Russian control. Did you guys know that? Let me know in the chat. Anybody knew that? I didn't know that. Holy shit, dude.
Of Mississippi is the territory that the Russians control in Ukraine. So if we look at the map here, what we are seeing is an area that goes from Kharkiv down this way all the way toward Kherson. This is an area of control that the Russians have, and they're in essence fighting the Ukrainians in this area because what they need to do is they need to be able to control this area in order to achieve one of Vladimir Putin's main war aims, which is to control the Donbas region.
Let's talk a little bit about this key city, Severodonetsk. Tell us about why it's so important right now, what's going on there.
So this is critical, Wolf, because Severodonetsk is really the key point. It's right here, right in this part of the Luhansk region. The Luhansk region is the northern part of the Donbas area. The only part that the Ukrainians control of this area is this part right here, that is right around Severodonetsk and just north of the town of Popasna. What this means is that in Severodonetsk, this critical junction is one of the areas where the Ukrainians are going to need to either keep this, if they want to keep this controlled, but the other problem that they have is it's very easy for the Russians to cut them off at this particular point. If the Russians do that, the Ukrainian forces here risk being surrounded, and that is going to be a huge problem for them.
So what do you think the risk is of these Ukrainian troops being encircled there?
It's very high, Wolf, and the Ukrainians have to be very careful to conserve their forces. If they don't conserve their forces, they are going to lose a large portion of their military, and that would be disastrous for their war effort.
You guys, Wolf Blitzer's coaching Putin. I can't imagine the CIA being okay with this. I can't imagine the Biden administration being okay with this at all. I mean, just putting it so bluntly and clearly for anyone that might work for Vladimir Putin to just maybe watching CNN and be like, yeah, you know, we're kind of looking at it a little differently than that, but hey, Vladimir, check this out from CNN. And Vladimir Putin watches that and says, let's do that. Let's do it. It's like self-fulfilling war prophecies, and CNN is doing them. What do you say after this?
So you think there's a limited window right now where the Ukrainians potentially could withdraw?
Yes, if they use these areas right in here, and if you take a look right through this area, they still have an open path back into the Ukrainian-controlled areas. If they do that, then they will have an opportunity to save that portion of their army. That's going to be critical. If they don't do that, they risk losing that army, and that, of course, would be a major blow for them.
Dude, they just put so many people's lives at risk. They don't even care. They don't even care.
In the liberated villages,
They don't even care, man.
This is where all the magic happens. This is our converging diverging nozzle. Without this, you don't have a hypersonic wind tunnel.
Chris Combs runs the Hypersonics Lab at the University of Texas, San Antonio, home to a new state-of-the-art Mach 7 wind tunnel, a key tool in helping the U.S. catch up to China and Russia in developing weapons that travel more than 5 times the speed of sound. Hypersonic missiles and aircraft could be the future of warfare because their speeds and maneuverability make them extremely difficult to defend against.
We're one of only about 5 in U.S. academia that can do Mach 7 plus.
And there's only a handful of government-run industrial-grade hypersonic wind tunnels in the U.S. In fact, during a meeting with the Defense Secretary in February, 2 people in the room told CNN that CEOs of America's largest defense contractors described this scarcity of wind tunnels as a choke point in testing.
For the big wind tunnel facilities, it can be 1-2 year wait time right now to schedule things out. I'd say 6 months would be pretty fast.
A critical delay, as the U.S. is still in the early stages of its hypersonics program, with the Air Force successfully testing Lockheed Martin's missile, called Arrow, last week after 3 failures.
Tell me, sorry, hypersonic
But
wind tunnel,
Russia
Griffin.
isn't just testing these weapons. It just became the
This is
first
my
country to
hypersonic
ever
wind tunnel
actually
right here.
use hypersonic weapons in war, using them at least 10 times in Ukraine, according to the Pentagon.
Well, it's a consequential weapon.
And China successfully tested a hypersonic weapon that orbited the globe last year.
At one point, the Chinese were building their wind tunnels as quickly as we were decommissioning wind tunnels.
Mark Lewis, a former top Pentagon official working on hypersonics, estimates Beijing is building a new hypersonic wind tunnel every 6 months.
We really need our test infrastructure, our wind tunnels, in order to be able to advance in this field. And frankly, we've allowed that capability to atrophy over the past few years.
This tunnel in Texas is only 8 inches wide and took about 3 years to build. The biggest hypersonic wind tunnels are 8 feet wide and would take about 5 to 10 years to build, according to Combs.
You're not putting a full-size airplane test vehicle in any of these facilities. There's nobody in the world that's testing in a 20-foot hypersonic wind tunnel, right? That type of technology just doesn't exist. It's simply too much air.
So instead, they test small 3D printed models. These are the ones that are unclassified.
These are the models that you can show us. How many models do you have that you can't show us?
Well, I can't tell you that, right? And this is the type of thing that we can have in our wind tunnel when CNN is here.
Now, in terms of how long it would take to catch up, this hypersonic wind tunnel took about 3 years to build, but the big ones could take anywhere from 5 to 10 years. And China is building a new one almost every 6 months. Kristen Fisher, CNN, at the University of Texas, San Antonio.
Dude, is it just using regular fucking, no, fucking generate that over.
This is the last road.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. It's all pro Ukrainian war shit, and there's like 1 or 2 articles that aren't that are like telling you what's really going on.
To Lysychansk, Putin's forces have moved with rare focus here and may soon encircle the pocket of 2 cities on a river we're driving into. The Ukrainian forces we saw here, mobile, tense, at times edgy. And this is why, across the river here, the besieged city of Severodonetsk, increasingly more in Russian hands, whoever you ask. We can hear the crackle of gunfire down towards the river below.
Well, we were told the Russians have tried already to get into town, and it looks like we might be witnessing another attempt over there. That smoke near one of the remaining bridges into the city. Our police escorts shout drone, often used to direct artillery attacks. We are on high ground, exposed and scattered. It is a tale of 2 desperations here. That which makes people stay, and that which makes them finally flee. Leonid is the latter.
I gotta bring all my stuff in, man. I gotta go do that. We've been live for 2 hours, son. So I'm gonna go.
Some who stay are increasingly
I'll see you guys later.
angry
You
at
guys
what's
take
left
care,
of the
okay?
Ukrainian state here. A young woman was killed here a day earlier by a shell. And locals told us
I love you guys.
saying cameras attracted shelling.
Turn on notifications. Follow me at Nays Garden on Twitter, guys. That's where I'm at.
Russia's bloody persistence.
I hope y'all
and
had fun.
unbridled
Thank you so
firepower
much for being
is
here.
bringing the kind of victory
You
in
guys
the
are the
ruins
best
they
freaking audience.
seem
I
to
appreciate
cherish.
y'all. Okay, you
This
guys take
cinema
care.
was a bomb shelter. Local
Bye, guys.
officials said it's unclear if, when their huge airstrike hit, the Russian military was aware it had been emptied days earlier.
Just startling how whole chunks of this cinema have been thrown into the crater there. It's just the ferocity of the airstrikes we're seeing here, designed simply to get people out of this town.
Those who stay among the shards of glass feel abandoned already.
Many people, but there is no gas or water or power or anything. We asked the aid workers today when it will all come back, and they said there are only prostitutes, junkies, and alcoholics left. That means the aid workers have left here.
Lydia is carefully picking up the pieces of the airstrike, which she felt the full force of in her apartment 8 floors up. There's an old lady on the first floor and me with my disabled son. She says he doesn't really understand the war's happening.
Retreat lingers in the empty air. If Putin takes here, he may claim he's achieved some of his reduced goals in this invasion. It's now the unenviable choice of Ukraine's leaders. If this is the hill its men and women will die on.